When it comes to healthy eating, we often focus on what to buy and how to cook it. But for seniors, there's another critical step that often gets overlooked: how and where we store our food. And believe it or not, refrigeration isn't always the best choice. In fact, certain foods lose their flavor, texture, and even nutritional value when stored in the fridge. Some can even spoil faster or become more difficult to digest. On the flip side, there are foods that absolutely must be kept cold to prevent harmful bacteria, preserve freshness, and protect your health, especially as the body's immune defenses weaken with age. That's why in today's video from NutriHubBliss, we're diving into a surprisingly important topic: the 4 foods seniors should never refrigerate, and the 4 that you must keep cold for better safety, taste, and nutritional impact. You'll learn how proper storage doesn't just protect your food, it protects your digestion, your energy levels, and your overall health for older adults. Small details like food temperature and storage method can quietly affect everything from gut comfort to blood sugar control. Knowing which foods thrive in the fridge and which do better on the counter or in a cool pantry can help you eat smarter, waste less, and feel better with every meal. So whether you're someone who tosses everything into the fridge just to be safe, or you've been leaving items out without thinking twice, this guide will give you the clarity and confidence to store your food the right way. Let's begin with the first item you should never refrigerate, even though many people do, and it might be affecting both your digestion and the flavor of your meals. The worst food to refrigerate. Number 1, tomatoes, a senior-friendly superfood that loses nutrition and digestive ease in the fridge. Tomatoes are among the most beloved vegetables, or more accurately, fruits, in American kitchens. From sandwiches and soups to salads and pasta sauces, they're a staple in many seniors' weekly meals. But here's a surprising truth: refrigerating tomatoes is one of the worst things you can do, especially for older adults. It may seem like a way to keep them fresh longer, but refrigeration can actually rob tomatoes of their flavor, texture, and digestive benefits, making them one of the foods seniors should never refrigerate. When you place fresh tomatoes in the fridge, the cold temperature disrupts the fruit's delicate cellular structure. This leads to a mealy, grainy texture and a significant drop in flavor compounds, particularly the ones responsible for their natural sweetness and aroma. But beyond taste, there's a deeper issue for seniors. Cold, damaged tomatoes may become harder to digest. As we age, our digestive systems become more sensitive, and changes in texture and fiber breakdown can make certain foods less comfortable to eat. Even more, refrigerating tomatoes can affect their antioxidant profile, especially the concentration of lycopene, a compound linked to heart health, prostate protection, and anti-inflammatory effects. Seniors who often face multiple chronic conditions benefit greatly from fresh, nutrient-dense tomatoes, but refrigeration reduces these benefits significantly. Take, for example, Marley Gutierrez, a 78-year-old retired flight attendant living in Sarasota, Florida. Marley loved fresh tomatoes and used them in her daily Mediterranean-style lunches. However, she kept them in the fridge out of habit. Over time, she noticed her meals felt less satisfying, and she started having mild indigestion after eating raw tomato slices. Her granddaughter, a culinary school student, encouraged her to try storing tomatoes at room temperature. Instead, within a week, Marley reported better flavor, easier digestion, and even an improvement in how well her homemade bruschetta was received at her church's lunch group. The safest and healthiest way for seniors to store tomatoes is to leave them on the counter out of direct sunlight in a cool, well-ventilated area. If you've sliced into one, it's okay to refrigerate the cut portion temporarily wrapped and use within 24 hours, but whole tomatoes should be kept at room temperature until they're fully ripe and ready to eat. In summary, tomatoes are a superfood for seniors, but only when stored properly. The fridge might seem like a safe choice, but it actually does more harm than good for both flavor and function. Keep them out, let them ripen naturally, and enjoy all the nutritional richness they have to offer. In the next section, we'll take a look at another common food that many seniors store in the fridge, but doing so could be silently worsening joint stiffness and inflammation. The worst food to refrigerate. Number 2, bananas, a tropical fruit that loses its anti-inflammatory benefits in the cold. Bananas are one of the most accessible And senior-friendly fruits available today, they're soft, easy to chew, rich in potassium and excellent for maintaining stable energy levels between meals, but despite their convenience, refrigerating bananas is a common mistake, one that can quietly reduce their nutritional value and worsen certain inflammatory responses in the body. That's why bananas belong on the list of foods seniors should never refrigerate. When bananas are stored in the fridge to cold, disrupts the natural ripening process and causes their skin to darken prematurely. But beyond the cosmetic change, chilling bananas alters the way their natural sugars and enzymes behave. Unripe or cold damaged bananas may become harder to digest, especially for seniors with slower gut function, acid reflux, or sensitive stomachs. More importantly, bananas contain powerful bioactive compounds like dopamine and catechins, which have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. These compounds are most potent in ripe bananas, but refrigeration slows their development and can even degrade some of them. For seniors managing arthritis, joint stiffness, or inflammatory conditions, this reduction in anti-inflammatory benefit means missing out on one of the fruit's most valuable properties. Let's look at Delilah Boonen, 82-year-old former yoga instructor from Tempe, Arizona. Delilah had long relied on bananas as part of her post-workout routine, using them to keep her muscles from cramping and her blood pressure steady. But after reading online tips about extending shelf life, she began refrigerating them soon after she noticed more frequent bloating and, oddly, more stiffness in her joints during her morning stretches. Her doctor couldn't find anything serious, but suggested she revisit how she stored her food. Once Delilah returned to storing her bananas on the countertop and allowing them to ripen naturally, her digestion improved. And so, their flexibility to keep bananas at their best, seniors should store them at room temperature, ideally on a banana hanger or in a fruit bowl away from apples and avocados, which can speed ripening too quickly. If a banana becomes overripe and you don't plan to eat it right away, freeze it instead. Peel it first, cut it into chunks, and store in a freezer bag for smoothies or baking. In short, bananas offer tremendous benefits for seniors, but not when they're kept cold. For optimal digestion, joint health, and inflammation support, keep them out of fridge and let nature do its work. A room temperature banana isn't just tastier, it's smarter for your aging body. Coming up next, we'll explore a popular oil that turns waxy and loses its heart-healthy qualities when stored cold. Yet, many people keep it in the fridge out of habit. The worst food to refrigerate. Number 3, olive oil. A heart-healthy fat that turns sluggish and less effective in the fridge. Among the healthiest ingredients in any senior's kitchen is olive oil, particularly extra virgin olive oil. It's widely celebrated for its heart protective benefits, anti-inflammatory properties, and ability to support brain and joint health in older adults. But here's a common mistake: storing olive oil in the refrigerator. Despite good intentions, this habit can diminish the oil's nutritional quality and usability, making olive oil one of the foods seniors should never refrigerate. When olive oil is placed in a cold environment, it solidifies and becomes cloudy. While this doesn't necessarily spoil the oil, it does signal a shift in its texture and composition. The problem is frequent temperature changes, like moving the oil in and out of the fridge, can lead to oxidation, which reduces the potency of its beneficial compounds, particularly polyphenol. These are the antioxidants that give olive oil its anti-inflammatory and cholesterol-lowering effects, both crucial for senior cardiovascular health. Furthermore, cold storage can dull the aroma and flavor of olive oil, especially high-quality extra virgin varieties, since smell and taste naturally decline with age. It's even more important for older adults to keep their ingredients vibrant and appealing, because the more enjoyable a meal is, the more likely seniors are to eat well and consistently. Let's take the example of August Augie Reed Dern, an 86-year-old retired tailor living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Augie had switched to using olive oil for nearly all his cooking after being diagnosed with high cholesterol 5 years ago. Wanting to keep his expensive bottle fresh, he started storing it in the refrigerator, but he noticed it turned thick and waxy, making it hard to drizzle or measure. Worse, his homemade vinaigrettes began to taste flat after talking with his doctor, who emphasized the importance of healthy fats for heart health in seniors' Augie. Moved his olive oil to a dark cabinet away from the stove. The flavor came back. And so did his enthusiasm for salad night. For best results, store olive oil in a cool, dark place, ideally between 57 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a pantry or kitchen cabinet, away from direct sunlight. And heat is perfect. Use dark glass bottles if possible, and avoid plastic containers, which can leach chemicals into the oil over time. Once open, aim to use the oil within 2 to 3 months for maximum benefit. In summary, olive oil is a powerful ally in senior nutrition, but only when stored correctly. Refrigeration may seem like a safe option, but it degrades the very qualities that make olive oil so effective at protecting the heart and reducing inflammation. In the next section, we'll reveal one more pantry staple that many people chill without question, but doing so can rob it of both taste and antibacterial strength. The worst food to refrigerate. Number 4, honey, a natural remedy that loses its healing power in the fridge. For centuries, honey has been valued not only for its sweetness, but for its natural antibacterial and soothing properties. Many seniors rely on honey for calming sore throats, aiding digestion, and even supporting sleep. But while it may seem harmless to store honey in the refrigerator, especially to prevent spoilage, this habit actually works against its most beneficial qualities. That's why honey is firmly on the list of foods seniors should never refrigerate. Honey is naturally antibacterial and shelf-stable thanks to its low moisture content and acidic pH. It can last for years in a sealed jar at room temperature without spoiling, but when placed in the fridge, honey crystallizes quickly, becoming thick, grainy, and harder to use, while crystallized honey is still safe to eat. The texture often deters seniors with arthritis or limited hand strength from using it regularly. More importantly, cold storage can diminish honey's natural enzymes and antimicrobial compounds, which are temperature sensitive and begin to break down when exposed to fluctuating conditions. These enzymes, like glucose oxidase, are what give raw honey its soothing and healing qualities. When degraded by refrigeration or heat, the honey becomes little more than sugar. For seniors, using honey as part of a natural wellness routine, especially to calm digestive upset, soothe coughing, or boost immunity. This reduction in potency means they're missing out on the very reasons they chose honey in the first place. Let's take the story of Pearling. Pearl Haskins, a 79-year-old retired piano teacher from Asheville, North Carolina. Pearl kept a small jar of honey in the fridge next to her butter, thinking it would stay fresh longer. Over time, she found it increasingly difficult to scoop, and she eventually stopped using it in her afternoon chamomile tea. One of her calming rituals, after speaking with a local herbalist at the farmer's market, she was advised to store honey in the pantry. Instead, within a week, Pearl noticed the honey returned to a smooth consistency, and she began enjoying her tea again, along with its digestive benefits and soothing effects on her seasonal allergies. To keep honey at its best, senior should store it in a tightly sealed glass jar at room temperature, away from sunlight and moisture. A dark cupboard or kitchen shelf works perfectly if crystallization does occur. Gently warming the jar in a bowl of warm water, not the microwave, can restore its texture without damaging its natural properties. In short, honey is one of nature's best gifts to older adults, but not when it's stored in the fridge. To preserve its health benefits, ease of use, and rich flavor, let it stay right where it belongs at room temperature, ready to support your daily wellness, one spoonful at a time. Next, we'll shift our attention to the opposite side of food safety, highlighting 4 foods that seniors absolutely must keep cold to protect against illness, nutrient loss, and spoilage. The best food to keep cold. Number 1, yogurt, a probiotic powerhouse that needs cold to stay safe and effective for older adults looking to support gut health, bone strength, and immunity. Few foods offer as much value in one spoonful as yogurt. It's easy to eat, gentle on digestion, and full of calcium and live probiotic cultures that aid nutrient absorption and regularity. But to keep those benefits intact, there's one rule seniors must follow. Yogurt must be kept cold always. That makes it one of the most essential foods seniors must keep cold at all times. Unlike shelf-stable foods, yogurt is a perishable dairy product, meaning it requires refrigeration to stay safe. When Yogurt is left out at room temperature for too long, especially over 2 hours. It becomes a breeding ground for harmful bacteria like Listeria and Salmonella, which pose a much higher risk to older adults with weakened immune systems or chronic conditions like diabetes or kidney disease. Symptoms from foodborne illness can hit seniors much harder and lead to dangerous complications, especially dehydration and infections. Beyond safety, refrigeration also preserves the live active cultures such as lactobacillus and bifidobacterium that make yogurt so beneficial in the first place. These probiotics help balance the gut microbiome, regulate digestion, and even enhance immune response. If yogurt is left unrefrigerated for too long or is repeatedly warmed and cooled, those beneficial cultures die off and the yogurt loses much of its therapeutic power. Let's take the example of Clem Farrell, an 81-year-old former shoe repairman from Boise, Idaho. Clem started eating Greek yogurt every morning to help with his acid reflux and irregular digestion, but in the winter months he would bring his breakfast with him to morning card games at the community center and sometimes leave the yogurt in his bag. For hours before eating, he didn't notice a problem until one day he experienced severe stomach cramps and was rushed to the ER to cause a spoiled container of yogurt that had been sitting unrefrigerated for nearly 4 hours. His doctor warned him, yogurt is good for you, but only when it's cold. Since then, Clem uses a small insulated cooler bag when taking yogurt outside the house and always checks the expiration date before eating. He's had no issues since and continues to enjoy the digestive and immune support yogurt brings to his diet. To store yogurt safely, keep it in the refrigerator at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees or below, and return it to the fridge as soon as you're done serving. When shopping, pick it up last before heading to the checkout and refrigerate it promptly when you return home. If you're packing yogurt for an outing, use an ice pack or thermal bag to keep it cold. And short yogurt is a valuable food for seniors, but only if it stays cold. Don't leave it on the counter, in the car, or by the window. Treat it like medicine for your gut and store with care to keep its full health benefits intact. Up next, we'll explore a protein-packed food that often misunderstood but is absolutely essential to keep cold for safety and longevity. The best food to keep cold. Number 2, eggs, a nutrient-dense protein that demands reliable refrigeration. Eggs are one of the most versatile and senior-friendly sources of protein available. They're inexpensive, easy to prepare, and packed with essential nutrients like vitamin B12, choline, lutein, and high-quality protein, all of which support muscle strength, brain health, and vision in older adults. But when it comes to storing them, there's no room for error. Eggs are one of the top food seniors must keep cold at all times. The reason eggs are highly susceptible to bacterial contamination, particularly from Salmonella, a type of bacteria that can grow rapidly at room temperature. While younger adults may tolerate mild cases of foodborne illness, seniors face far greater risks, including dehydration, severe abdominal pain, and even hospitalization. As we age, our immune response slows down, making it harder for the body to fight off infections caused by contaminated food, especially when that food is protein-rich and moisture-dense like eggs. Contrary to popular belief, in some countries, eggs in the United States are washed before being sold, which removes their natural protective coating. This makes refrigeration absolutely necessary to prevent bacteria from entering the porous shell. Unrefrigerated eggs, even left out for just a few hours in warm temperatures, can begin to harbor harmful pathogens that are invisible to the eye and undetectable by smell. Let's take the example of Denny Belrose, an 85-year-old retired barber from Flagstaff, Arizona. Denny kept a few eggs out on the kitchen counter the way his parents did, thinking it would make cooking breakfast quicker. But one morning, after frying up an egg that had been sitting out overnight, he developed nausea and chills that worsened by afternoon. A trip to the urgent care clinic confirmed a salmonella infection, likely from the unrefrigerated egg. After recovering, Denny now stores his eggs in the fridge and double CH checks freshness before cracking them into the pan for best safety. Eggs should be stored at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius in the main body of the refrigerator, not in the door where temperatures fluctuate. More seniors should avoid eating raw or undercooked eggs like in Runny Yolk's homemade mayonnaise, or Caesar dressings, and instead opt for fully cooked. Preparations such as hard-boiled scrambled or baked. Additionally, be mindful of expiration dates and use the float test. If unsure, place the egg in a bowl of water if it sinks, and lays flat. It's fresh if it stands upright or floats. It's best to toss it in. Summery eggs are a nutritional gold mine for seniors, but only when handled and stored properly. Keeping them consistently cold isn't just good practice, it's a vital step in protecting your health and preventing unnecessary illness. Next, we'll look at a widely loved protein food that's easy to overlook in the fridge, but leaving it out for too long can be especially risky. For older adults with heart or kidney conditions, the best food to keep cold-free deli meat's a convenient protein that can turn dangerous if not kept cold for many. Seniors' deli meats offer a quick and easy source of protein, perfect for sandwiches, salads, or light dinners. They're pre-cooked, easy to chew, and require little to no preparation, but they also come with a hidden risk. Without proper storage, these convenient cold cuts can become breeding grounds for harmful bacteria, including Listeria monocytogenes, a pathogen, especially dangerous for older adults. That's why deli meats are one of the top foods seniors must keep cold at all times. Unlike other forms of meat, deli slices, whether turkey, ham, roast beef, or chicken, are often exposed to air during slicing and packaging, increasing the risk of contamination. Listeria can grow even in cold temperatures, but it thrives when these meats are left out on the counter for more than 2 hours. For seniors, consuming compromised deli meats can lead to severe infections with symptoms ranging from fever and muscle aches to gastrointestinal distress, and in extreme cases, neurological complications. Even if the meat smells and looks fine, that doesn't guarantee safety. Older adults have weaker immune systems, making them more susceptible to bacteria that wouldn't affect younger individuals as strongly. For seniors with heart disease, kidney problems, or diabetes, food poisoning can become more than just uncomfortable. It can be life-threatening. Let's consider the story of Henrietta Hen Magwood, 83-year-old retired school secretary from Eugene, Oregon. Henrietta loved her daily turkey sandwich, but she had a habit of leaving the sliced meat on the counter while preparing the rest of her meal, and sometimes forgetting to return the package to the fridge until later. One afternoon, she started feeling dizzy and nauseated just hours after lunch. Her doctor later identified Listeria exposure as the cause. Now Henrietta is diligent about keeping her deli meats properly stored and consumed within 3 days of opening, and she hasn't had a problem since. To stay safe, deli meat should be kept refrigerated at 40 degrees form or below and stored in airtight containers or sealed packaging. Seniors should aim to eat sliced deli meats within 3 to 5 days and never leave them out on the counter for longer than 30 minutes, especially in warmer climates. If you're unsure whether the meat has been out too long, it's always better to toss it than risk your health for added safety. Consider heating deli meats until steaming hot 165 degrees before eating, especially if you're in a higher risk category. This helps kill off any potential bacteria that may have developed during storage or packaging. In summary, deli meats can be a safe, senior-friendly food only when they're handled with care and kept cold. With just a few smart habits, you can enjoy their convenience and flavor without putting your health at risk. Next, we'll look at a refreshing fruit that not only tastes better when cold, but also retains more nutrients and stays safer to eat for longer when stored in the fridge. The best food to keep cold. Number 4, berries, a nutrient-packed superfruit that needs a cold to stay potent and safe. Few foods pack as much nutritional value into a small serving as berries, whether it's blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, or blackberries. These fruits are rich in antioxidants, vitamin C, and fiber, all of which are crucial for healthy aging. They support immune function, reduce inflammation, aid digestion, and even improve brain health. But there's one rule: older adults should never ignore. Berries must be kept cold. That makes them one of the top foods seniors must keep refrigerated for both safety and effectiveness. Berries are fragile by nature. Once picked, they begin to deteriorate quickly, especially when left at room temperature. Their high moisture content and soft skin make them especially prone to mold and bacterial growth. If left out for too long, even a few hours, they can become unsafe to eat. particularly for seniors with weakened immune systems or digestive sensitivity. Moreover, cold storage helps preserve the antioxidants and phytonutrients that give berries their deep color and powerful health benefits for seniors dealing with chronic inflammation, memory decline, or immune challenges. Maintaining the integrity of these nutrients is essential. Without refrigeration, these vital compounds begin to degrade rapidly, and the fruit not only spoils faster, but also loses much of its protective value. Let's take the case of Millie Trout, an 87-year-old retired florist from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Millie loved to start her mornings with a bowl of mixed berries and Greek yogurt, but during the summer she would buy fresh berries from the farmer's market and leave them on the counter to ripen a little more. One morning, she noticed a slightly sour smell from her berries, but ate them anyway. By evening, she experienced nausea and bloating, leading to a trip to urgent care. She had unknowingly consumed spoiled fruit. Now Millie refrigerates all her berries immediately and eats them within 3 days, and her breakfast routine is back on track to keep berries fresh and safe. Store them in the fridge as soon as you bring them home, ideally in a breathable container lined with a paper towel to absorb excess moisture. Wash them only right before eating to avoid premature spoilage. If you buy in bulk, freeze some of them to enjoy later in smoothies or oatmeal. Frozen berries retain most of their antioxidants and are often more economical, and short berries are among the best fruits for seniors, but only if kept cold. By refrigerating them promptly and handling them gently, you can enjoy their full health benefits without worrying about spoilage or foodborne illness. Now that we've explored both sides of smart food storage, let's bring everything together in a final conclusion, recapping which foods to avoid refrigerating, which ones require the cold, and how seniors can use this knowledge to stay safe, nourished, and energized every day. As we discovered in this video, the way food is stored can be just as important as what's on your plate, especially for seniors. While many of us were taught to refrigerate food to make it last longer, the truth is that not all foods benefit from the cold. In fact, some lose their flavor, texture, or even become harder to digest when stored in the fridge. That's why tomatoes, bananas, olive oil, and honey belong on the list of foods seniors should never refrigerate. Keeping them at room temperature helps preserve their natural benefits, improve digestibility, and make daily meals more enjoyable. On the flip side, some foods absolutely need cold to stay safe, and effective items like yogurt, eggs, deli meats, and fresh berries are highly perishable and can quickly become a danger zone for bacteria when left out too long. For older adults whose immune systems may not respond as quickly, this can lead to serious illness. That's why these are foods seniors must keep cold, not just for taste, but for real measurable protection against food-borne illness and nutrient loss. At NutriHubBliss, we believe aging well starts with simple everyday choices, and understanding how to store food properly is one of the easiest ways to protect your health, preserve your energy, and feel confident in your kitchen. Whether it's keeping yogurt chilled or leaving your tomatoes on the counter, each habit adds up to a safer, smarter routine. If today's video gave you new insights, let us know in the comments which of these storage tips surprised you the most. What will you change in your kitchen starting today? And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to NutriHubBliss, and share it with someone you care about. Together, we'll keep making small changes that lead to stronger, healthier lives, one meal at a time.